It's been a good week, so I'm not going to complain about anything today. Just a couple quick updates. As many of you know, I said that I had a stack of these books, and if anybody wanted one, just email me, steve@lehtolaw.com. Put the word book in the subject line and put your full name someplace in the body of the text. That should sneak past my spam filters and also allow me to send you an invoice via Square, which is secure like PayPal. You pay that, and then I'll send you one of these books signed by me. And the $15 I will charge you includes the cost of the book, the postage, and everything else, and the handling. So, as you might guess, all I've been doing all week, ever since I first put the video up saying that I was making that offer, is I've been signing and packaging books. And if it's several people say, Steve, why don't you have someone else do it? Well, I got to sign every single book, and so I got to handle the book anyway. So it's something I don't push this work off on anybody else because it's annoying. I talk about just signing books, and I can't just go through the emails and the invoices and then just sign the book. I have to double check a few things because some people want them specially signed and so on. And then I've done this in the past, and once in a while somebody will contact me and go, Steve, I haven't gotten the book yet. Now, I've already gotten emails from people telling me they got the book. The books are already showing up, and they were doing that as of yesterday, which was Thursday. I may have gotten a note from somebody on Wednesday, but I'm trying to remember what day they first went out. But so you guys might be, Steve, but how difficult is this? Well, first of all, I got to keep track of everybody I send a book to. So I have these lists of the names of people I've sent books to already, and that's several pages worth because I walk into the post office. Atlas, Michigan. They love me. They love me. Actually, it's kind of funny. The postmaster told me, she said, well, believe it or not, we actually like the volume. I said, really? And she goes, yeah, because if we keep putting out big volumes of mail, they're less likely to close the post office, which is good because I want to keep that P.O. box I've had there for a while in Atlas, Michigan. So I walked in the first day with over 100 of these packages, ready to go out. Came the next day with another 100. And I now out in my truck have another 100. And so those will get dropped off today. And I'm still not done yet. So I'm guessing we're going to run into the 500 or 600s, maybe a little bit more. Now, I will tell you that a bunch of people got invoiced who have not responded yet. And so, I still have books. I'm not worried about running out just yet. But if you sent me an email asking for an invoice, and you didn't get a response, check your email, check your spam, and then send me a note if you didn't get one, because there were some caught in my spam folder where people sent me the note, but they didn't put anything in the body, and my spam goes, well, that's probably spam. It's got one word in the subject line. So I've been digging around, but if you haven't gotten the invoice, let me know. Double check to see if you have got the invoice. But other than that, I'm just going to keep plugging away at this until the pile is gone. But I'm going to put up on the screen while I'm talking right now a couple photographs. One is a mountain of books on my table. That's not all the books I had. That's just the first 100 or 200. I forgot how many are in that photograph. And then also I'm going to show you the photograph showing the first 100 books going out at the post office. When I carried them all in, the post office opens at 9 o'clock and I walked in at 8:55 and had the whole stack there. And the cool thing is, because there are people out there who look for something negative in everything I say. Right now, there's somebody who's going, Steve, so let me get this straight. You're the guy at the post office with a mountain of stuff that makes me wait when all I want to do is buy one stamp. No, guess what? We can pause the transaction and take care of you. And in the 2 different trips I've done to the post office so far, only once has someone come in while I was there. And I stepped aside, and the postmaster actually said, sir, what do you need? Guy wanted a book of stamps. She paused my transaction, sold him his stamps, and he was on his way. So I'm not inconveniencing anybody except for the postal workers who, like I told you, don't seem to care. So again, it's American Murder Houses. They're remaindering this one edition of the book. It's identical to the other edition, except for a different cover. And like I said, the margins are different, so they could manage to squeeze it onto apparently less paper and lower their costs. So it's got a cover value of $12. I'm selling it for $15. That includes postage, and I sign it, so there you go. Couple other housekeeping notes I should point out. Couple things new to the set, including the Colorado license plate over here, OA5599, and it says 1970 on it. And it's one of the more obscure things, but I should probably tell you this because some people won't be able to figure it out. and they won't be able to necessarily see all the numbers on it to figure out what it is. But that is the license plate replica of the plate off of the car in Vanishing Point. I knew that when I got it. Thank you very much. Also, I got a bobblehead here. And the bobblehead was sent to me. And that's a bobblehead of Arthur Penhallow. And I mentioned before that W4 is one of the rock and roll stations that was in Detroit at a time when there were 4 rock and roll stations. There's W4, WRAF, WABX, WLLZ. And interestingly, Arthur Penhallow, I never met the man, but Arthur Penhallow was the afternoon drive guy on the ABC FM station in Detroit that when they signed on, they went rock and roll very, very early. And a good friend of mine who's passed away now, Dick Kernan, was the man who hired Arthur Penhallow. And he put him on in the afternoons a million years ago. And he was an institution in Detroit. He had a very, very recognizable voice and a very recognizable appearance. And he did a lot of appearances for the radio station, appeared in commercials and all kinds of stuff. And he had a great voice, and he's a great personality. And he was the afternoon drive guy. And it's so interesting that it's we tend to think of the big people in radio as being morning shows. And so I mentioned before that Howard Stern briefly did the morning show on W4 before they went country, and then he went to D.C. But Arthur Penhallow was one of the first people to get hired for that radio station when they went to Album Rock. And he was there for the longest time. And he outlasted probably 5 or 6 morning shows and 5 or 10 midday people. And he became the guy. And it's interesting because in radio, the most expensive real estate is the morning show. So that's who usually gets paid the most. And that's usually who generates the most money for the station. But Arthur Penhallow was unusual in that situation because of the fact that he was an afternoon drive guy. And never did mornings, but he got paid like it. And I can tell you that at the peak of his popularity, he got paid as well as a lot of morning show people did in Detroit. So I got the bobblehead sent in. I'll keep that on set as long as I've got room for things like that. And then I should finally let you know that the smallest thing, it's been added to the set. And the guy sent it in to me and said, Steve, I noticed you put it on the set. I'm sure no one else did because it's too small. But it is, in fact, a guitar pick that is from the Muscle Shoals studio down south. And Muscle Shoals is very, very well known as a recording studio. They recorded a lot of extremely important early rock and roll, and so it's historic. It's like the Sun Studio in Memphis. And then, of course, over here, what we do have the people have asked about this. I'll tell you now. This, of course, is a replica of the insert coin to play off the old style video games like Defender, my favorite. There's a belt buckle from Richard Petty, which was limited edition, which I bought because I like Richard Petty. Over here is a copper coin that someone sent in, and it says Merry Christmas, and it's copper. And I should also point out that I did add the set. I forgot if I mentioned this before or not, but this is a 1 pound copper ingot. This weighs a pound. If this was gold, it'd be worth a lot of money. Being copper, it's kind of cool, but it ain't worth that much, at least not as much as the gold. So there you go. And then, of course, we do have the smaller Hot Wheel Cobra over here. We've got the ice cream truck over here. I think I mentioned this one before. I've got a matching shirt for that. And then, of course, the baseball bat, which I know for a fact I've talked about before. So that's the set. But I'm trying to, like I said, keep things moving back here. I've got more T-shirts that have just recently been added to the mix. So everything is good. Everything is good. So that's the situation. Like I said, if you ordered a book from me and you paid the invoice, they're coming. They're coming. It's just, I reach my limit at about 100 a day. By the time I've signed 100 books, I've actually got this spot on my finger right there. It actually hurts to touch. And I've actually got a little bit of a callus there. I've had that for a long time for writing, but it actually hurts right now from all the signing I've been doing. So all the books I've been signing, I dress the envelopes myself. I was talking to my good friend Jonathan the other day, the guy who put together the movie Red Metal. And I told him the whole story about this. And he goes, who's doing that? And I go, I am. He goes, don't you have more important things to be doing? And I said, not really. I consider this important. If I write a book put this much work into a book, and someone publishes the book, and people want to buy the book that I put all that work into, I'll do the work of mailing it to somebody who wants the book. So there you go. Questions or comments? Have a great Friday. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.